Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mind Your Business Monday. I am your host, Travis.
And I'm Arletha.
And as always, Mind Your Business Monday is brought to you by On Point Alliance. Here at On Point Alliance, we provide a diversified scope of services with fingerprints and background screenings being our primary services. To learn more, just scan the barcode or visit us at www.onpointalliance.com.
All right, we want you to tackle the week like a boss here with us on Mind Your Business Monday, your compass for entrepreneurial growth. We want you to level up your skills by learning from entrepreneurs who have walked in your shoes and who want to share both their wisdom and knowledge in personal and professional leadership development. So, if you like how that sounds, it doesn't matter if you are just starting out or already in the game. This is your compass towards success. So go ahead, like, follow, share, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. And don't forget to click the notification bell.
All right. How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
Don't
good. Start. We did good.
I'm just trying to say, I don't even know. I did everything right. I don't know. Just like I have to literally say technology. So y'all know, normally we come in with our tell your neighbor, mind your business. Look at your neighbor, say, mind your business and leave my business alone. I couldn't get the woman to say it wouldn't come on.
It was queued up.
It's queued up. I don't know what happened.
I don't either, but we here now. We here
on this last Monday, March Monday.
Absolutely.
And we hoping all you guys are watching and ready. I forgot to even go ahead and share my stuff. I got to do what we telling everybody else to do.
Yes, and I hope you all had a wonderful day. I hope it was productive. I hope you had an opportunity to grow in some areas and set some boundaries and extend some grace to yourself today and laugh. I hope you something weird happened and you were able to laugh about it. I really do. Laughter is good for the soul.
It really is.
And I'm trying not to go because you have us cracking up.
I know. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm like, I ain't trying to do what I'm trying. Then I ain't trying. But y'all know how it is. So this is been our tax month.
Yes.
And we have had a tax ninja.
Okay, that's the only way to describe.
No pun intended. Tax ninja, Evin Basher from EB Tax Solutions. He's the CEO and founder of
his flyer.
I'm sorry. He is the CEO and founder of EB Tax Solution. And so we have him back on here again because all this month we've been talking all things taxes.
Yes, and he has been educating all of us on how to strategically approach this tax season. And he wanted to come back today because there are a few more things he wanted to share with us before we hit April. Mm-hmm. And as you know, the clock there's a countdown from April 1st to April 15th. And some things need to happen between that time. And so he's here today to make sure everybody is ready and prepared.
All right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you Mr. Evin Basher.
Yes, we need some noise machine.
We got to make our own sound. Our technology may not even work for us. So we got to make our
How are you all doing today?
We're doing well, sir. We're doing well.
Oh, thank you.
How do we sound to you, Evan? We just want to make sure we're not over here talking and thinking everything is copacetic.
Yeah, it's crystal clear from my end.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Then we are good.
Okay.
So I think what I want to do. What we're going to do before we hop in all the way, we're going to go ahead and do some of these quick announcements really fast. So, Arletha.
All right. So before we get started, and because we want to just turn Evin loose and just let him go because there's a nice amount of information. We have the secret recipes of an overcomer, how to transition from defeat to victory. You can scan the barcode to get your copy. We also have Encourage, Strengthen from Within. You can also scan that barcode and get your copy. You won't be disappointed.
You will not be disappointed.
All right. Are we ready for Evan to introduce himself to
I think
those
we
who've
are
been
ready.
missing it
We are ready
all month?
for him to do what he came to do.
So, Evan, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sounds good. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Evin Basher. I'm the CEO and founder of EB Tax Solutions LLC. I've been in the tax industry for about 3 years now. So, we generally specialize in individual and business tax preparation, as well as notary services, mobile notary services as well. Also, business formation services also. So if any individuals who need help with those services, we are definitely here to help. Our office generally virtual operated. However, we do have mobile services, even for tax preparation as well, that we offer. So we would love to help everyone. Our main focus when joining the tax industry is education. Obviously, we want to ensure that every taxpayer is compliant with all of their tax filings. However, we want to ensure that we're able to educate our clients on how they can better help their tax situation following the next year.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope you were able to scan the barcode on that was on the screen on his advertisement. And if not, we'll be showing it
It'll definitely be
throughout
coming back
the
up.
show. Yes, because we want as many people, so you're not just waiting to the entire last minute. You can go mind your business and connect with Evan to get your taxes filed. Okay. All right.
So, Evan, let me ask you this question before we get started. How often are you making yourself available through like social media, doing things like this, or how often do you do that?
So our marketing team does a good job of engaging with all of our audience, essentially throughout the week, 24/7. So we may have an individual who may reach out to us later on in the day or even after hours, and we may have someone who may reach out to them and say, "Hey, thank you for contacting us. We will be reaching out to you within, X amount of time." But generally, Monday through Friday, we're open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturdays, we operate from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Sundays, we are closed. But generally, we also have scheduled consultations as well. Those can be found on our website or our link tree, where you can simply just click the link, select your time, put in your phone number, email, and your name, and then we'll have your scheduled time with myself.
Awesome.
So, like, y'all got it together.
Yes. And so, Evan, tonight, what I know you mentioned several things that taxpayers, regardless if it's for personal or business purposes, some things that you wanted to make sure everyone kept in mind and was aware of. And so you could go ahead and jump right in where and you got the floor.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I wanted to note to business owners specifically is that a lot of business owners may or may not know is that they have an obligation to pay estimated quarterly tax payments throughout the year. So these are generally 3 points throughout the year that they have to make a tax payment to the IRS in order that so when it comes time for them to file their tax return, they won't see a huge bill. And
Mhm.
so a lot of self-employed individuals, like let's say you are a barber, and that is all that you do, that's all of your income essentially. Well, a barber is going to get taxed by self-employment tax. So they're going to be taxed differently than what like a W-2 employer or employee is going to receive, generally because a self-employed individual is not necessarily going to see taxes taken out of their income because they're receiving all of their income right in their hand. They're
Hmm.
not having Medicare that's taken out. They're not having Social Security taken out of their pay. So what the IRS does is that they give you the opportunity to make quarterly tax payments throughout the year in order to report those when you are actually filing your individual tax return. So when you file your individual tax return, you will attach your income and your expenses, all that information to your individual tax return. And then also, if you have made scheduled tax, quarterly tax payments, then you can report those as well. So I would essentially say it's more like the federal tax withholding for a W-2 earner, but this is just that equivalent to a self-employed individual.
Okay.
Okay, so to do something like that, one would need to be on top of their profit and
Mm-mm.
loss,
Mm-mm.
their balance sheets, their contributions, and things like that. Now, is that a service book? I think that would fall under bookkeeping, correct?
Correct. So
Is that something
um,
you offer?
So our office, we offer a generalized bookkeeping service. So generally what we do is we just collect all of your documentation first and foremost from your business. So we have to understand how you operate your business. How exactly do you pay taxes? So are you on a federal quarterly tax payment schedule, or are you on a fiscal year to where you just receive your income and your expenses throughout the entire year, and then you just pay it all or deduct it all once it's time for you to file your individual tax return. Once we have all the information, we generally currently only just collect all of your income statements as well as your expense statements as well, and compile those information into one general document to where once it becomes time for you to file your tax return at the start of the next year, we can provide that information to you so you don't have to scramble left and right to find, oh, is this an expense? Was this an expense? We have all that information right down to a T for you.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So you said some business owners may not even be aware of this, but this is an obligation. So what about that person who's like, oh snap, I didn't know, I haven't done it. Should they feel nervous that they haven't done it? Or how should they, respond to that?
Well, luckily now, so we're at the start of 2024. So there are 4 dates, even from now until the start of the tax season of basically it'll be tax season 2024 come 2025. So there are 4 dates that they can look out for even right now to prepare for that. So we have April 15th. That's the first day of 2024 for a self-employed individual to pay their quarterly tax. We have June 17th. We have September 16th. And in addition, the IRS also recognizes a few weeks after the start of the tax year, essentially, or of the next year. So that actually will begin January 25th of 2025.
Okay.
Okay. So with these dates, if they have not done it, these are dates that what?
So if they have not made a payment on these dates, by these dates on the deadline, they can make an additional payment on the next due date if they did miss that. Or they can again wait until the entire year is up, and then they may have a bill that's due come tax year 2024, because generally it's retroactive. So once we go into 2025, we'll be filing the taxes for tax year 2024.
So is this something that's just good practice, or because I heard you say obligation, some people may have this obligation. How would a person know that this is optional for them versus mandatory for their business?
So generally, for someone who has an obligation to pay this, they have to owe have a tax liability of at least $1,000. So generally, the Internal Revenue Service will send them a notice, just letting them know that they may have a bill that's due on X amount of days, and then they'll send the schedule out. This information is also posted on the Internal Revenue Service website for anyone to see as well. And so at any time, a business owner should generally know, and it's best practice to know that if they don't want to have a huge bill come tax time, then they can generally make those payments throughout the year. Same thing like a W-2 employee. If their filings exempt throughout the entire year, they're not having any taxes taken out of their income throughout the year. So when it's time for them to file their taxes, they're sticking their chest up thinking, oh, well, I'm ready. I got 2 kids and I'm ready to, get a refund or something like that. Not that that's always a good thing, but then they look and see, well, I didn't pay any federal income. Okay,
Surprise.
well, I'm only getting $200 back, and then they want to go to somebody else down the street to see how
Yep.
they can
Mhm.
get more, thinking that it's the preparer's fault. So again, it all just goes back to education and just knowing, exactly how they can plan for the upcoming tax season.
See, you know what, and you wind up saying something that my mind started going to a lot of times when it comes down to W-2 employees, and I've heard some on the job when they're filling out their W-2s, different things. A lot of people don't even know what they're doing.
Hmm.
And they have some idea, or somebody say, if you file exempt, they won't take that much out your check, but they don't tell them about what's going to happen at the end of the year. So
Right.
what was crossing my mind was this whole what's the thing on the form where it talks about withholdings. Can you explain what that is for people who, when they're filling those W-2s out, they see the word exemption, they see the word withholding, but they don't really know what it means. And sometimes they're just making a decision to do stuff based off of what somebody what somebody didn't told them. They done
Girl,
told
what
That's
them.
you put? I put this.
Somebody done told them wrong.
Right. And they have a totally different situation. So that's the main thing because a lot of, you guys' situation may be different than mine. So some individuals may go on that form and just put, I'm head of household, I have 3 dependents, but they may be taxed or be withholding a different amount versus the next person. So my recommendation for anyone who's filling out a W-4 is when they're filling in their filing status, they can generally just put single. A lot of times, what they can do is that can help them ensure that they're having the most amount taken out of their paycheck or their income in each pay period so that they're not looking at a huge tax bill or a much bigger tax bill than they're looking at if they were to do head of household or qualifying widower or married filing joint or married filing separately.
Mhm.
And generally, if they want to put zero as any dependents that they're claiming as well, that can definitely ensure that they're having a little bit more taken out. Now, and of course, it does depend on the individual because if you're someone who does a lot of investing per se, let's say you want to invest, you can use that money and you decide to file exempt and you say, hey, I want to just hold on to this money throughout the year, but I'm going to invest it for a year for the time being. So generally, you can invest that money generally throughout the tax season. And let's say you do come back and maybe you do end up owing maybe $500 or so, but your investment has grown you maybe $2,000. So you've actually made a little bit more money to pay for your tax bill, and then you're able to actually keep the remaining amount of money. On the other hand, an individual who wants to say, okay, take as much as you can out, and I want to get as much back, at the start of the year, just to give me a good start of the year. They can actually file single. They can put on their W-4 that they want to just qualify as single. They want to just put that they have 0 dependents. And then if they want to add extra withholdings, and withholdings is essentially the amount of money that the IRS will take, or the federal government will take from your paycheck per pay period
Mhm.
to set aside to, which is essentially, when you think about it, their own savings bank account, essentially, just to set aside for your taxes, just to say, hey, these are the taxes that I'm paying throughout the year. And so, depending on your income, depending on where that falls within the tax bracket, you could essentially, most of that money that you're having moved to the side for the federal government could be coming back to you. But that all that information varies depending on what credits you're able to apply for, what deductions. Let's say if you, I'm not going to say it, but let's say you're going to have itemized deductions that you can take advantage of, other than the standard deduction. You almost called me Travis. The standard deduction. If you're taking advantage of those standard deductions, you can have a higher refund amount if possible.
So, because I heard that, see, when I hear people say you could get some of that money back, see, in my
Mhm.
mind, I be thinking, if you say I could, there's a
Mhm.
possibility that I won't.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not always a guarantee. So we always have to be careful with the words for sure.
And another thing too is because I've seen and I've worked with people who, and I remember hearing them say, I don't know why I always wind up owing. I have them taken out. I put zero. I got them taken out. But why is it every time I file, I wind up owing? You have any? Can you shine any light on that for some listeners? I know somebody know what I'm talking about. Can you shine some light on that?
Well, it all depends on how they're planning throughout the year. So let's say this individual, may make $70,000, but they're filing single. So they have no dependents.
Mm-hmm.
They have no one else to claim, but they're only taking the standard deduction, right? So that means that they're not necessarily, paying out for any medical expenses. They're not taking advantage of any charitable contributions. They're not paying any real estate taxes. They're not paying any student loan interest, or anything like that. They're obviously they don't have any children to claim. A lot of times, or if they're not just paying in enough from their withholdings, essentially. So the best thing to do is make sure that they're updating their W-4 to where they can actually ensure that they're having the most taken out so they don't owe. And a great thing about it is that the Internal Revenue Service has a income tax withholder on their website, to where anyone can go on their website and use that information it's to estimate what they could owe or could possibly get a refund based off their income.
You know what? You're absolutely right. They also have that, and I believe they have that calculator
Mhm.
that's pretty accurate when you actually put in, like you put your salary in and how many
Mhm.
hours you work, and it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
The amount that they say, or the estimate that they say that you would get back. Guys, we talking all things taxes with Evin Basher. Evan, did you almost call yourself me?
No, 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 no.
I'm gonna
I'll
say a
say,
stand induction.
yeah. That's all it was.
Yeah,
Have I
stand
messed you up
induction.
with the stand induction, sir?
Every time I can't even think about it regular now. Hope I don't catch myself with a client saying that. They be
Right.
like,
Oh my goodness. Well, y'all, again, like I said, we are here with the tax ninja, Mr. Evin Basher, the CEO and founder of EB Tax Solutions. So we're gonna go ahead and as we go throughout the show, we're constantly gonna be putting this flyer up so that information can be there. So you all guys can go ahead and scan the barcode. If you're old fashioned, want to go ahead and write it down. If you can still see a nice distance away, you can write down his phone number or
His link tree
his
link
link
there.
tree. We got all the information there. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to hear from our sponsor, and then we shall be right back. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I tried it again. I don't know. I don't know what happened, Evan. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Everything is
Everything
everything.
been said, and look, we
Everything.
was like, it was too easy to
I
set up
know,
for
right? It was
today's
like wasn't
show.
no nothing.
Everything was so smooth. But you know what? That just means more time for Evan
That's all.
to help you
Hey,
get your life in order. If you've already filed your taxes, pass his information on to someone who you know needs it, your friends, your family, and look, save it. save it for next year if you've already filed your taxes, okay? Because we know we're getting close to the end of the season. He wanted to just make sure that everyone had as much, what's the word? As much, is it, or uh, in your arsenal? What's in your arsenal? Artillery?
Mhm.
That's good.
To make sure you have as much artillery in your arsenal when it comes down to preparing for your taxes and taking advantage of some of these tax breaks and tax credits and things like that for this year, because a lot of things have been put into place and a lot of things have changed.
Yes.
So that's his whole purpose on just sticking it out with us this whole entire month. We want to thank you for that as well.
Very much
All right.
appreciate
So, Evan, what else you got for us?
One thing that I would like to highlight is the clean vehicle credit or the commercial clean vehicle credit. So for those individuals who are purchasing vehicles like Teslas or those new clean vehicles, so there is a tax credit that those individuals can receive, which is up to $7,500, which
What?
is
Wow.
actually a very great tax credit for them to take advantage of. So. Generally, they have a commercial one, which is generally for business owners, and also just a clean vehicle credit as well for anyone who's generally looking to purchase a clean vehicle that is up to 14,000 pounds.
Oh, wow. So there, are you familiar with the tax credit for solar panels on your home?
Yeah, so for the individuals who are looking to, spruce up their home, and let's say they want to put solar panels or anything that's just saving energy. So there are different deductions that anyone can take advantage of throughout that time. There is generally a lifetime maximum a credit for that. I believe that's generally up to, I want to say, that one's kind of new in my mind at the moment, but I know there are different kind of improvements you can make on your home in order to ensure that you can take advantage of those credits. And those are all retroactive back to the prior year. So it doesn't matter if you have an older home or a newer home. A lot of newer homes are already having the information, those upgrades already included, which is, always great because you're already saving money. But generally, there is a tax credit for those individuals as well.
The last I remember, the tax credit for solar was like 30% on the transaction.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, and that those who get their roof fixed at the same time as they purchase their solar, the tax credit applied to that entire transaction. So I had because I used to sell solar, and a lot of my homeowners took advantage of that, and I didn't know if it still applied this year, but I know last year it was 30% tax credit, and so I was wondering, was that still the same with everything going on with the government?
Yeah, well, I know they generally just apply the general, just there's a lifetime max just for anyone who's anyone who has any improvements on their home.
Hmm.
Now, as far as any other improvements, I know they've done away with a lot of general tax breaks due to the Tax Cuts and Job Act that was passed a few years back. So a few things were kind of cut, generally just based off of that bill alone. But more or less right now, they're only just really strictly just sticking to the solar energy or whatever, just saving everyone energy at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all heard it.
That's why it's good to pay attention to those shows where they actually show us the they have the live cameras that show you when they're passing those bills.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't even we don't even know the stuff that's actually coming and a lot of stuff that's going.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because they're Congress is there and your legislators are there making these l- laws and taking stuff away
Yep.
and adding stuff. So all of this is about us as a people doing our due diligence as well. If you're gonna be in business, you ought to want to be in business the right way.
And in
Uh,
compliance.
and right and in compliance, and you want to know
Absolutely.
what it is that you're doing, so you're not in a situation where you're oh, what's that word where they say you you look like you got money but you don't. what's that word?
I say stunning.
No, not stun. It's called
That's a good one.
what'd you say? It's,
You're
That's a good
stunning.
one. Stunning.
well, hey, in layman's term, is actually stunning. But you have all these
Are you talking about
things.
imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. Oh, that's one too. But it's something broke.
Not house poor.
No, it's not that.
Like
Cash
rich broke.
something. Huh?
Oh, okay. Like rich broke or just.
It's something almost like that. I didn't want to say
Mm.
rich, but that's what I was thinking. But it's something almost like that. It's like, but you got a lot of valuable things, but you don't really have nothing.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and it's like what you talk, what you're trying to express. It reminds me in Deuteronomy, I believe is in 28, where it was talk about how having wealth and it's like having
Having
holes
holes in
in
your
your
pocket.
pockets,
Mm.
lawless giving, like you're not handling your finances properly. So you have a
Yeah.
lot of things, but it's like having holes in your pockets. So you really don't have what you could have, and you look like you're doing something that you're really not. And at the end of the day, it's people who make less than you that
Right.
have more money left over
Mm-hmm.
than you because of how they're managing their finances, their lifestyle, or are they living above their means? How are they allocating their funds? You know what I'm saying? And so I've so often people say, "Oh, girl, I wouldn't spend money on this," but you spend money on what you spend money on. So mind your business,
There you go.
right?
That part.
So, you have to step back and at some point prioritize, and based on those priorities, you make those necessary adjustments. And so you're not appearing to have something you don't. I had mentioned a few shows back where you don't want to people see it on social media, and because of your capacity, you're doing all these things, you spending time, which is numbers, days are numbers, but those numbers in your bank account ain't matching all the effort that you're putting in, which is goes to what Evin is talking about today at these quarterly taxes. Because do you know how much money we waste on fees to the
Oh my
banks,
gosh.
processing fees, overdraft fees? We spend so
Late
much money,
fees.
late fees, just not properly minding our business
Mm-hmm.
and doing things, being proactive, because that's what it put me in mind of what you're referring to, Evin, doing it quarterly. And I know some business owners, they just barely making it. They doing what
Right.
they got to do and they trying to survive. But at the end of the day, you still gonna have to pay the taxes. So some people are like, I'll deal with it later. But look how much extra you're gonna spend doing certain things later. So if it's something you can implement quarterly, get with Evin to see how can you incorporate that discipline in your business practice, and how you're managing your home. And professionals like Evin can help you. And some of y'all have heard about this already, but your life situation don't appear or present itself that that's even possible for you. Well, if you have a professional that ain't gonna break your neck or bust your head to give you a consultation, he have 50% off for everyone that comes from Mind Your Business Monday for tax preparation. Well, if he's your tax person, don't you know he's finna try to help you get some things in order and give you some advice and educate you in some other areas? That's what you want. You don't want somebody just you to pay them just to do their taxes. If
Right.
that's the case, go on
That's right.
TurboTax.
And they want you to get there before you got to make the commercial. The IRS was coming after my home. They put a lien against my car. I thank God for EB Tax Solutions. He got me out there.
You better go ahead.
Don't wait till you got to make the commercial, y'all. Do it. Do it before then. Care about your
Mhm.
Yes.
business before you get in trouble with. Because that's
Yes.
what I hear out of this whole month. It's
Yeah.
like you need to learn these things about taxes, because a lot of us, unfortunately, we push it off. We push it off. It's like, oh, they ain't nothing. Ain't there? Ain't no big deal. Ain't big deal. And then all of a sudden, now you face with this tax monster.
And having a tax
Exactly.
professional that care about those things,
Right.
and they don't want to gatekeep so you can continue to need them to do
Oh my
every
God,
single
that
thing
part.
to stay in your pocket, but they want to educate you on how to do some of these things and maintain it as they set it up and help guide you through, which is what EB Tax Solutions is about. Okay, so again, show his information. You want to connect with Evin. So some of these disciplines, because that's what it is, some of these disciplines, he can help guide you, or even, give you some advice on who would you reach out to if it's something that his company does not per se do. On how one of his shows, he gave us some different apps that we can use to track our mileage and to organize our receipts. Evin, do you remember those two? Do you mind sharing those two again?
Yeah, no problem. So we have mileage IQ. So it's just regular mileage and then IQ right after that. So that's a great tool in order for any business owner, generally anyone who wants to know exactly what their mileage is for personal and also what their mileage is for their business. And it's great because it actually helps you track each trip that you make, and you can actually categorize it in each one. It's a simple swipe to the left or swipe to the right. So that was actually pretty great. I use it myself daily. In addition to, if you just wanted to have like a personal assistant, just for something to say, hey, I need something just to be able to mark down that I took a client out on a $40 meal. I was going to say $10, but nothing's $10 nowadays anymore.
Mhm.
I took a client out, just a $300 meal. And I just want to make sure I document that correctly. You have keeper tax. So that's KEEPER tax. So they have a bunch of different categories that any individual can categorize all of their expenses. And generally, they should have an area for income as well, to where they can place all that information together and pretty much make sure that it's available for them once it's time for them to file their taxes.
Okay. Well, guys, go and check out those two apps. He just gave you two keys.
Right.
He gave you two keys, and and it's just a matter of you doing your due diligence. And of course, this is what he uses. There's so many different ones out there, but for those of us who want to try where we know someone who knows what they're talking about, is
That part.
recommending, I encourage you to start at these two to see how they fit with you. And again, reach out to him for more details on your specific situation so he can help guide you on which direction you need to go. All right. All right, Evin, what else you got for us tonight?
One thing that actually is pretty new that's come out that the legislative has brought to our attention is that anyone who has a structured business through the Secretary of State, or generally any business that's structured, they do have to file what's known as a beneficials owner's interest report, or a BOI report, and so those must be filed annually. So this has recently come out. So essentially, for anyone who has had a business that was structured prior to 2024, they have until the end of 2024 in order to file that BOI report. So this report was brought out essentially, and it's from FinCEN. So basically, the financial department, in order to fight against any kind of crimes as far as money laundering or anything like that. And this is basically essentially the government ensuring that all of our businesses are legit, and these aren't overseas companies coming in making these illegitimate companies, and to where the money isn't just flowing left and right. So essentially, a business owner must go to FinCEN, I believe FinCEN.org. They just must fill out a simple 5-minute report, just essentially reporting who the owners are of the business. For someone who actually structured their business this year in 2024, So if their business was structured January 2nd, 2024, they have 90 days in order to submit this report. And so it's very crucial for anyone who's doing this or who's thinking about making a business now in order to make sure that this report is filed, because generally you can face up to a $10,000
Ooh,
fine if it is not filed. Generally, it's about $500 per day that you could be fined.
wow. So, if I heard you correctly, this is for anyone that's established their business in 2024. So, if it's 2023, this is not something that's mandatory for you, correct?
So I apologize, if you have a business that has been structured prior to 2024, you
Uh-huh.
have until the end of 2024 to file this report.
Okay.
If you have had a business that was filed this year of
Uh-huh.
2024, you have 90 days
Oh, gotcha.
to
I
file that
misunderstood.
That's
report.
clear.
Okay. So that makes me think about the franchise tax. Do you know I got caught up with that at the beginning when I first started my business, and I didn't get the freaking letter. I didn't
Mhm.
know they will straight up like take away your LLC. Can you tell us about
Absolutely.
that?
So that's essentially one of the things that the powers of the Secretary of State or generally the federal government can flex to say this is an obligation that you must, send an annual report to us, just notifying us of your income and what you've made. So generally, there's a franchise tax for anyone who may have an LLC. That's due, throughout the year or whatever the case may be. So they may send you a bill just informing you of what your franchise tax amount is for the year. So if you can go to the comptroller website, the Texas comptroller website, and file your report, your basically, which is your annual report that you're supposed to file every year. And so if you don't file it in time, don't worry. It's generally just a $50 fee that you have to pay through the comptroller. And then if they do send you a bill, it's important that you pay that bill generally within about 60 to 90 days, or if not, your business could be essentially what's known as forfeited over to the Secretary of State or the Comptroller's office.
Yeah, baby, I heard them pay that $50 and never let that happen again. But I didn't
That's
know.
good. Hmm.
I'm like, what? A franchise tag? And even if you see some business owners, small business owners, they think because they didn't make money or didn't make a lot of money, it doesn't apply to them.
Hmm.
I remember trying to understand at the beginning, um, if you don't make a certain amount of money, it can be considered a hobby and you don't really have to file taxes on it, and trying to decipher through all of that, and they get caught up in that. Could you
That's a good
give some
point.
insight to that?
That's a great point, actually.
Now,
So generally, what the Internal Revenue says is listed as a hobby is a business that's not making money. So let's say year round or whatever the case may be throughout the year, you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do pottery. So I'm gonna do clay. I'm gonna mold clay, and I'm gonna make it for sale and things like this. And I'm gonna make a business out of it." Now, if you're going out buying supplies, moving different kind of things, doing all these things that for your pottery business. But if you're reporting a loss, so a loss is generally when your expenses exceed your income. So let's say
Mhm.
you've only made $1,000, but you've expensed or you've bought $5,000 in supplies. And that's just in supplies alone, not including mileage, not including any advertising you've done, just supplies only. That means that that business actually took a loss for that year. Now, over time, generally about 3 years or so, the Internal Revenue Service could say, hey, this individual has been operating this business for at least 3 years and they're not generating a profit. So they're not operating this business or they're not operating this, whatever they would call this as a business. It's essentially just a hobby because they're not in it to make money. There's no profit being made here. So at that point, the Internal Revenue Service and also the Comptroller's Office could look and see if that business should continue to stay in business, essentially, because it's not making money.
Mm. So you need to make a decision.
Mhm.
And if you're going to do this for real, as it's a little side hustle before it's not your choice anymore. That's what
Right.
it sounds like you're saying.
Mhm.
And you're forced to make, to get on the ball or go find some, go to another playground and figure something else out.
They won't even leave you alone, let you have a hobby. See, that's what I'm saying. They won't even leave you alone. If you ain't making no money, then we need to shut down. You just make a hobby.
You're
Yeah.
right, and I get it because you have individuals who have a 9 to 5 job, right?
Mhm.
And they say on the side they're a photographer, so they travel. They have these different things, but they also make money as well. So sometimes it does counterbalance, however, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the business, let's say they have a W-2 job where they're obviously, making money, but they're
Mhm.
continuing to show a loss on this company, this side company they have. They would just consider it a hobby. So if you paid money to have this business structured as an LLC, to protect your assets and different things like that, and you're not, having a consistent, year or
Right.
a year or 2 or 3 years of profit showing, then that's no longer a business at that point. Like I like how Kevin O'Leary says it, like on Shark Tank. Sometimes he makes me laugh because he says sometimes you just need to take it behind the barn and you know and shoot it. So that's sometimes if it's that bad, but
Oh, that is
yeah,
funny.
Wow. And I have seen where you kind of hit on it, write it off, write everything
Oh
off.
my goodness,
Well,
that
if you
part.
study showing 000, and then let's say next year you find out about all of these financial opportunities to take advantage of, and these people want your last 2 3 years tax documents, and you ain't made no money, but for real you hit six figures, but you figured out a way to write everything off. It looked like you didn't make any money, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that
So
also factors into when you're trying to buy a house. Because a lot of individuals may have, 50,000, or they may make $60,000 at their W-2 job, but they wrote off $30,000 of their expenses on their side job.
Mhm.
So when they're going to, obviously they can show bank statements to show, that they received these. However, depending on the lender, they may say, hey, we need to see tax statements because essentially the tax statements are going to show the full picture. They're going to show that, okay, look, you're only netting $20,000 a year. So how can you afford a $350,000 house?
Right.
So that's one thing to take into consideration. However, and it's a sticky subject, but however, if you're deciding to write off to depreciate some of your assets, so let's say you have a vehicle that you just newly purchased last year, and you just placed it into service for your business, you can write off that depreciation of the vehicle. And so once it's time for you to, get towards the closing and everything, and for them to look into your financials, that amount that was depreciated can be added back into your income. So sometimes depreciation can vary from, at least, five to 10,000 or $15,000 or more. So that can actually add back a lot of money back into your adjusted gross income.
wow. You heard that now.
Oh,
You
you hearing
heard
it?
you heard how that works. So again, reach out to Evan for your specific scenario so he can kind of see where you are and where you need to be. And what you need to do, scan that barcode on the screen, or go to his link, or you can give them a call and get your consultation set up. Evan, uh, please share with them what you're offering Mind Your Business Monday viewers.
Absolutely. So every client who's referred to us by Mind Your Business Monday, they'll receive 50% off of all of our tax preparation fees and generally all of our services as well. We are also offering to pay for any of the activation for our vacation vouchers. So essentially, our vacation vouchers are already opportunity to take advantage of up to a $1,500 offer to go to any destination that we have available, which is a lot of destinations essentially all around the world. So we're offering to pay for the activation fee for the taxes and fees as well that you have to pay per night. So essentially it adds up to about a $1,750 value.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
I know that's awesome. Right. All right.
awesome.
So we're going to give a few announcements as we come into the end of this episode. If you're looking to start a business that is flexible, self-paced with a low startup cost, you want to consider fingerprinting. You'll be like a DMV. It's a service that everybody needs at some point. There are numerous industries: trucking, insurance, real estate, for court purposes, immigration, child care, nursing, education, and that's just to name a few. Construction, IT, securities, tax, the tax industry. There's different reasons people have to get fingerprinted and they cannot not do it, right? So if you have a notary service and you want some add-on services to upscale your business, add fingerprinting to it. You're already there, people need it. And you can charge now for the mobile fee for going to them and providing the service if you decided to do mobile. So we teach you how to position yourself and possibly be one of the preferred fingerprinting providers in your area, because we currently, I believe, have
735 plus. I think it's 738.
38 5-star Google reviews. So we understand our clients, we understand customer service, and we are leading here in Texas as one of the top ranked fingerprinting providers. So scan that barcode to learn more about the fingerprinting bootcamp. Last thing I want to say about it: if you have a business, you're not trying to start something with fingerprints, but you have to fingerprint your agents, your employees frequently. You want to save money, time, and resources. We can train and certify someone in-house that your people never have to go out and get fingerprinted again. Scan that barcode and set up a consultation with us, and we can talk about the different fingerprinting options. Okay. And then last, we had mentioned earlier the secret recipes of an overcomer: how to transition from defeat to victory. This is a recipe book. It has a total of 8 authors, that's including myself and 7 others, who have given the recipe on how they overcame different challenges in their lives. They give you the ingredients and the instructions on how to apply those different things to overcome certain challenges. We are talking about overcoming sex addiction, overcoming codependency, invisibility, obesity, diagnosis, the loss of innocence and past trauma. Is one more, a sheltered childhood. And so there's a workbook that's following each chapter, and then there is a food recipe that's inspired by the author's recipe. So for example, me as a leader, my recipe is love glazed barbecue ribs. Ribs protect the internal organs, but at the same time, they're fragile. And so that's my recipe. And yes, it's single style barbecue. So go ahead and get yourself together and get your copy of the secret recipes of an overcomer. And then we have my freshman book, Encourage, Strengthen from Within. This book helps you challenge yourself to evaluate the issues of your heart, assess the perceptions, motives, and intentions of what you say you believe, and renew your mind through the word of God, and ultimately embracing the real you. So you'll be operating in the capacity of Christ and not in your strengths or weaknesses. So often we base things on that, and that dictate how we move and how we position ourselves. But if we're operating the capacity of Christ, y'all see where I'm going with this? So get your copy.
And we also want to thank Evin for sewing into our contestants on last week.
Yes.
Those books, we appreciate him.
Yes,
for
we
doing
do. We do.
that.
And last, we want to support every business. I'm getting to the point. I don't even like the term small business, but I know this, what it's called. But we big businesses, okay? How much time and energy we put into these businesses?
Big business.
Okay, big businesses. If you want to be a guest on our show, it's not based on who has the most followers, who got all these big fat juicy receipts that they like to show, which I'm not hating on receipts, but it's not always about that, because some folks just don't like telling their business. Okay. We want to have you on if you have any knowledge to share with our audience that'll help them get to the next level, ultimately leading them to your business and helping you generate leads. And then everybody's walking away with what they needed to be great, right? To mind their business. And so we want to support you. We want to pour into your business. We want to give you a platform to be heard and support it. So scan that barcode if you would like to be a guest on our show, and we will do everything that we can to support you. All right.
All righty. So we bringing the man of the hour back in.
Yes. Evin, thank you so much. I'm just always floored with just your knowledge and just how you finesse the tax industry and how you break everything down. And we're really praying that your business exceeds your expectation and that you have not a clue of the great things that EB Tax Solutions is going to do and the impact is going to have on the community, and that your vision and your mission, you actually see it in real time, in full fruition of when you originally created this business. Okay, so anything we can do to help you, you are welcome here anytime. You're an honorary member of Mind Your Business Monday. So you hit us up. Look, I got something coming up. I need to come on the show. Boom, you here. All right. So you got to stay in this spot. Just let us know whatever we can, and whenever you want to come. You don't even got to ask. Just let us know when you're coming. All right.
That sounds good to me. I'll take you up on that offer too. Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You consider yourself a third co-host. Sir.
That's right. And he was so smooth with it too, wasn't he?
He's been auditioning.
Right. We got to get you a Game Changer shirt. We're going to move on to send you a Game Changer shirt.
I love free shirts. I'm all about free shirts.
You say you love free shirts.
Read what it says.
So.
Read what it says, Travis.
It says, a game changer, a diligent trailblazer who, guided by the past model, which is prepare, act, study, shift, consistently reshapes industries and disrupts norms. With an unwavering commitment to excellence, they leave a lasting mark, transforming challenges into opportunities and visions into legacies. Success is a journey, not a destination. Keep moving, keep learning, and keep improving. You've got this.
Yeah. So that's what a game changer is. So you're a game changer.
Listen, that pretty much said my closing.
Okay.
That's it, my closing night. So again, guys, we thank you all for tuning in. We apologize for our commercials not working. Y'all didn't get a chance to hear. Tell your neighbor, mind your business. Look at him say, mind your business and leave my business alone. So since we didn't get to play it, we got a chance to say it.
Yes.
So until next week, thank you guys for hanging with us. We will see you all right back here next Monday, 7 p.m. for the next episode of Mind Your Business. So y'all have a great week.